I'm Adrian Seet, and Nightline begins right now. The top stories. Agong urges for quick solution to food security crisis. And UK PM Boris Johnson faces confidence vote after Partygate scandal. Thanks for joining us. The country's food security crisis needs to be addressed immediately, especially as the world is facing various challenges at the moment. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah also decreed that a long-term plan be drawn up to strengthen food security and ensure that the cost of living is at an appropriate level. In his royal address at the investiture ceremony of federal awards and honours, held in conjunction with the King's official birthday celebration at Istana Negara on Monday, Al-Sultan Abdullah expressed hope for leaders at all levels to address the survival problems plaguing the people, including the rising industrial and food commodity prices.
Nasihat beta, usahlah wujud bibit pertikaian apabila setiap kali negara berhadapan dengan masalah sekuriti makanan dan peningkatan kos sara hidup. Kita semua seharusnya fokus pada membantu memulih kemaslahatan rakyat.
Al-Sultan Abdullah pointed out that the attitude of blaming each other when something goes wrong will not be able to help and defend the fate of the people who are facing various hardships. His Majesty also urged Malaysians to play a role by cultivating frugality and spending prudently. In addition to this, the King advised the people to continue to practice personal hygiene and to take care of their health to create a conducive and safe environment. He also praised the government's initiatives to strengthen social protection, including implementing the Keluarga Malaysia Hardcore Poverty Eradication Program, and expressed high hopes that the program can achieve its target of eliminating the hardcore poor by 2025. Meanwhile, the King also expressed that any deficit of confidence in the country's ability must be addressed soon to enable the nation to rise again on the world stage. Al-Sultan Abdullah said to realize this, the country needs a stable government, apart from being supported by an efficient, transparent, integrity, business-friendly as well as a people-friendly service delivery system and governance.
Demi untuk merancangkan pertumbuhan ekonomi dan menjadikan negara sebagai pilihan pelaburan utama di rantau ini, ianya menuntut persefahaman dan pengorbanan semua pihak untuk mewujudkan lanskap politik yang lebih stabil dan lebih berterusan. Beta benar-benar berharap agar segala percaturan politik dapat diselesaikan segera demi untuk mengelak negara dari terus terjerumus ke kancah defisit keyakinan yang boleh menjejaskan imej dan masa hadapan negara.
The Yang di-Pertuan Agong also expressed his gratitude that the country recorded improvements in economic growth last year. The King said the matter was achieved through an effective health management strategy and political understanding so that the country could resume taking steps to achieve the development agenda. Al-Sultan Abdullah also welcomed the reopening of the country's borders on April the 1st, which is seen as capable of generating and reviving the country's economy. He added, to ensure the survival and resilience of the economy post-COVID-19 pandemic, the government should continue to take measures wisely and look for opportunities by exploring various new as well as innovative strategies. At the investiture ceremony, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong conferred the Darjah Sri Setia Mahkota, SSM, which carries the title Tun, to former Chief of Defence Force, retired General Tun Muhammad Hashim Muhammad Ali. The 87-year-old led the list of 1,021 recipients of federal awards, honours and medals for 2022, in conjunction with the King's official birthday. Also present at the ceremony was Raja Permaisuri Agong, Tunku Haja Aziza Amina Maimuna Iskandaria. Al-Sultan Abdullah also conferred the Darjah Panglima Setia Mahkota, PSM, which carries the title Tan Sri, to 18 individuals, including former ministers and senior civil officers. Amongst them were former Land and Cooperative Development Minister and former Sabah Chief Minister Tan Sri Osu Sukam, former Health Minister Tan Sri Dr. S. Subramaniam, former International Trade and Industry Minister Tan Sri Ong Kah Chuan, as well as former Higher Education Minister and Felda Chairman Tan Sri Idris Jusso. Other PSM recipients include Election Commission Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh, Education Services Commission Chairman Tan Sri Dr. Mazlan Yusof, and Deputy Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussain. In his congratulatory speech in conjunction with the official birthday celebration of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, the Prime Minister revealed that the government's efforts to revive the economy post-COVID-19 pandemic is increasingly bearing fruit and is seeing strong momentum. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this was based on the national economy recording a 3.1% growth in 2021 compared with a 5.6% contraction in the preceding year.
Bagi tahun ini, Kerajaan Tuanku bertekad memacu ekonomi untuk mencapai pertumbuhan di antara 5.3% sehingga 6.3% sebagaimana yang diunjurkan. Pembukaan sempadan juga telah merancangkan usaha pemulihan ekonomi, khususnya sektor pelancongan dengan peningkatan kemasukan pelancong asing.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri added that 2 million foreign tourists are expected to visit Malaysia this year, which would contribute 8.6 billion ringgit to the national economy. Furthermore, he said the government will ensure that matters involving trade industry players and investors are facilitated and the civil service delivery system is improved. This is in line with the government's commitment to boost performance and further stimulate domestic direct investment. The Prime Minister also stressed that the government is taking a cautious approach to the latest global developments, especially the issue of food supply and rising food prices. He said Malaysia, the Asian region, and other regions in the world were not spared from the impact of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, adding that the global supply chain was also affected, resulting in the world food prices rising by more than 30%. The Malaysian Armed Forces MAF, through the 1st Battalion of the Royal Malay Regiment RAMD, participated in the Platinum Jubilee pageant celebrating the 70th anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, which took place in London, United Kingdom on Sunday. The pageant's opening act saw the RAMD contingent marching in a large procession that consisted of military personnel from the UK's armed forces and from across the Commonwealth. Haliza Hashim reports.
A total of 210 military members from 21 Commonwealth countries took part in the historic parade. The Malaysian contingent involved 1 officer and 10 members representing the MAF. During the parade, the RAMD personnel looked immaculate and displayed precision marching, with the heir to the British throne, Prince Charles, saluting the national contingent as they marched past. All members of the Commonwealth contingent also received Platinum Jubilee commemorative souvenirs.
Kami berasa bangga kerana membawa nama Malaysia, Angkatan Tentera Malaysia, Tentera Darat Malaysia dan pasukan kami iaitu Batalion Pertama Regiment Askar Melayu Diraja Kebumian London ini untuk menyertai pembarisan yang bersejarah ini. Sebagai duta kecil dapat berjumpa dengan negara-negara Commonwealth lain. Selain itu kami boleh menjalani hubungan diplomasi antara negara-negara yang berada di bumi United Kingdom ini.
The 4-day Platinum Jubilee began last Thursday to celebrate Britain's longest reigning monarch for her dedicated service to her country and Commonwealth member countries. Around 10,000 people took part in the pageant, a 3-kilometre procession in the streets around Buckingham Palace. Aside from the military parade, the pageant also featured theatre and musical artists and key workers from the National Health Service (NHS).
In 2008, officers and members of the 1st Battalion of the Royal Malay Regiment were invited by the UK government to be part of the Guard of Honour at Buckingham Palace. The invitation to join the Platinum Jubilee pageant this year is another tribute to Malaysia as part of the Commonwealth. Haliza Hashim, TV3, London.
In an effort to provide the best in healthcare, Lembaga Tabung Haji, TH, has made treatment centres and specialist doctors readily available to make serving the Malaysian Hajj pilgrims easier and more organised. Its Mekah Medical Director of Operations, Dr. Abdul Marsudi Mana, said that public health officers would also patrol from room to room to explain the importance of basic healthcare. Dato' Abdul Marsudi said the treatment centre is also supported by 7 medical officers and 32 healthcare personnel, including nurses. He explained that they also provide a mobile clinic in the pilgrims' accommodation buildings, namely at the Anwar Al Madinah Movenpick Hotel, Saja Al Madinah Hotel, and the Prince Mohammed bin Abdul Aziz International Airport. Dr. Abdul Marsudi, who is also a public health specialist at the Kudat Health Office in Sabah, said that the room patrols not only cater for basic health, but also for staff to advise the pilgrims on how to deal with the hot weather. He stressed that with the weather exceeding 46 degrees Celsius, there are likely to be cases of dehydration. As such, pilgrims are advised to seek early treatment if dehydrated and to avoid crowded, dusty and dry surroundings that can cause coughing, adding that this should not be considered normal as it could lead to lung infection. Johor recorded 5,234 cases of hand, foot and mouth disease, HFMD, as at June the 4th. A 50-fold increase from 104 cases during the same period last year. State Health and Unity Chairman Committee Liang Tian Sun said children under the age of 6 years old accounted for 4,594 of the cases. Now, those between 7 and 12 accounted for 564 cases, and the rest were aged 13 and over. A total of 41 outbreaks were detected in nurseries, 18 in private homes, 13 in Tabika, 8 in Tadika, 7 in preschools, 3 in primary schools, 2 in day centres and 3 elsewhere. He said there were currently 25 active HFMD outbreaks, with Johor Bahru having the most at 11, Kluang with 7, Kota Tinggi with 5 and Muar and Tangka with 1 each. South Korea and US fire 8 missiles in warning to the north. News from the foreign front when we return. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will face a confidence vote on Monday after a growing number of lawmakers in the governing Conservative Party question the British leader's authority following a string of scandals that have shattered confidence in his leadership. Graham Brady, who heads the backbench committee of Conservative MPs, announced that the threshold of 54 letters had been reached to trigger the vote, which he confirmed would go ahead from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. local time. The 359 Conservative MPs currently sitting in Parliament will decide Johnson's fate by secret ballot, and if he wins, the embattled leader cannot be challenged again for a year. However, if he loses, he will be forced to step down as Conservative Party leader and Prime Minister. Ahead of the vote, the Prime Minister has sent a letter to the MPs in an attempt to rally their support by describing the upcoming vote as a golden opportunity to put an end to the media's favourite obsession, a line interpreted as a veiled reference to the Partygate scandal.
They committed suicide, some of them, in the face of what happened.
South Korea and the United States have launched 8 surface-to-surface missiles into waters off the east coast of the Korean peninsula on Monday in response to a volley of ballistic missiles fired by North Korea the previous day. Now, South Korean officials in a statement said the missiles, which were all launched within a 10-minute period, had involved 1 US Army missile and 7 South Korean Army missiles. It added that the action was a demonstration of the capabilities and readiness to launch immediate precision strikes on the origins of provocations of the command and support forces. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol in the meantime said North's nuclear and ballistic missile programs had reached a level where they threatened regional and world peace. The president has vowed to take a tougher line to any future provocations that may harm peace and stability on the Korean peninsula. Over in the United States, 3 people were killed while 14 others were injured after gunshots rang out in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Sunday, with some victims struck by bullets and others by fleeing vehicles. Authorities said officers who arrived at the scene found multiple victims, with 14 people shot, and 3 others were hit by vehicles while attempting to flee the scene. Police said they believe multiple shooters were using several types of firearms in the shooting. No suspects were in custody, and police have yet to identify any potential suspects or victims. The motive for the shooting was also unclear, but it was believed that the shooting was an isolated incident in which 1 or more of the victims were targeted. Over in India, at least 26 people were killed and 4 others were injured after a bus plunged into a gorge in the mountainous region of northern India. The bus was carrying 30 people, including the driver, to Yamunotri, the remote Hindu pilgrimage site in the Himalayan state, when it went off the road on Sunday evening. Now, the accident happened near Damta at Uttarkashi district, about 160 kilometers from the state capital, Dehradun. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a compensation of 200,000 Indian rupees each from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund for the families of those killed in the accident, while the injured would receive 50,000 rupees each. The picturesque Uttarakhand has some of the holiest Hindu sites and receives millions of pilgrims each year, but has a poorly maintained and notoriously dangerous network of Himalayan roads. football's biggest clubs. With Arsenal waving farewell to Alexander Lacazette, Arsenal's manager Mikel Arteta has a vacancy in his attack for a new number 9. And having been linked with a number of top stars, it seems Jesus is the man he wants. Reports on Sunday suggested Arsenal has finally made a breakthrough, having agreed personal terms with the striker. They claimed that Jesus is demanding a whopping $5.4 million a year salary after tax, or around $163,000 a week, a figure that will not deter Arsenal. However, it seems that Jesus himself intends to explore possibilities of joining either Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid for a Champions League football before committing to Arsenal. Turning to basketball, the NBA. Stephen Curry scored 29 points as the Golden State Warriors beat the Boston Celtics 107-88 in Game 2 to even the NBA Finals. The General Operations Force, GOF, has confiscated illicit cigarettes, liquor and vehicles worth more than 1 million ringgit in Senai, Johor. GOF Battalion 5 Commanding Officer Superintendent Muhammad Razali Merlin said 6 people were arrested, including a woman and the Singaporean mastermind. According to Razali, the suspects were arrested during raids on 2 separate locations at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. He added the suspects involved are 3 local men aged between 28 and 31, 2 Myanmar nationals comprising a man aged 31 and a woman aged 33, as well as a 60-year-old Singaporean man who was the mastermind. He said during the first raid, police found 1,806 cans of beer, 499 bottles of untaxed liquor, cash worth 102,600 ringgit, and 50 cartons of cigarettes stored inside the house and vehicles, while 9,960 beer cans, 1,110 bottles of untaxed liquor, and 200 cartons of cigarettes were discovered at the second house. 8 vehicles were also confiscated during the raids. The illicit cigarettes, liquor and beer are believed to be worth more than 704,000 ringgit. Investigations revealed that the syndicate is known as Gang Kenny and has been operating for more than 4 years. The case is now being investigated under the Customs Act. Police have solved 7 burglary cases in the Hulu Terengganu district following the arrest of 3 members of a family known as Gang Fahmi. Hulu Terengganu District Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Muhammad Adli Mat Daud said all the suspects were arrested in 2 separate raids in Pudu, Kuala Lumpur and Kampung Tamala in Marang on Saturday and Sunday respectively. 2 of the suspects, who were a married couple, were detained at a hotel in Kuala Lumpur after they had just closed a deal on the sale of jewellery with an agent. Following the arrest, police managed to track down the main suspect, a 28-year-old male. He was arrested at his residence in Kampung Tamala in Marang and is the younger brother of the female suspect.
MO hasil siasatan kita dapati suspek yang terlibat melakukan pencurian rumah ini menggunakan jet kereta dan bagi tujuan membengkokkan besi grill dan juga besi palang di tingkap lah yang ada besi itu, dan dia menggunakan jet kereta untuk membengkokkan. Bila dia bengkokkan, dia pecahkan, dia cabut cermin aku dan buka tingkap lah untuk masuk ke dalam rumah.
Following the 2 raids, the police also confiscated various jewellery, mobile phones and cash totaling an estimated 100,000 ringgit. Investigations found that the main suspect in the case had 3 previous criminal records related to drugs and had just been released from prison last January for drug offences. The 3 suspects have been remanded for 4 days beginning Saturday. In Negeri Sembilan, police arrested a man who tested positive for drugs after he was believed to have caused an accident involving 5 vehicles on a North-South Expressway NSE near Seremban on Sunday. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Nanda Maruf said the 28-year-old suspect who was driving a Perudua Myvi was nabbed at the scene. Nanda said the man was believed to be high on drugs during the arrest, adding that checks on his car found a transparent plastic packet containing dried plants, suspected to be cannabis weighing 3.39 grams. The suspect, who is unemployed, has been remanded for 4 days starting on Monday, and he is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In the 10:40 a.m. incident, the suspect's car was believed to have lost control and crashed into the rear of a Toyota Avanza driven by a 44-year-old man. Following the collision, the Toyota Avanza turned several times and hit 2 other cars, while its rear tyre was thrown off to the opposite lane, hitting another Perudua Myvi. All the victims escaped unhurt. As Nightline draws to a close this time around, let's take a look at visuals of the Piteris Upitis Lilac Garden in the Latvian city of Dubile, welcoming a large number of visitors during the violet and lilac flowering period. With that, I'm Adrian Seet. Thank you for your company and stay safe, Malaysia.